Are dead after a plane crashed while attempting to land at an airport in South Korea. This is one of the country's worst aviation disasters. To talk more about it, we're joined by BBC correspondent in Seoul, Rachel Lee. Thanks for being here, Rachel. What's the latest in this situation?
Right. So this tragedy centers on Jeju Air Flight 7C2216, a Boeing 737-800 that had just arrived from Bangkok to Muon. So that's a county about 290 kilometers south of capital Seoul. And it was carrying 181 people, and of these, only two survived, both crew members, while 179 passengers, including 85 women, 84 men, and 10 whose identities are still unclear, lost their lives. The victims were predominantly South Korean with two Thai nationals on board. The scene at Muan International Airport is quite devastating. So families of the victims have gathered in the terminal where grief is palpable and many are crying uncontrollably as names of their loved ones are being identified. Now the airport has set up all these yellow tents for families to have some privacy, and relief workers are providing water, blankets, and instant noodles for them. And the heartbreak in this airport is just overwhelming.
Yeah, maybe you can give us an idea of what the scene is like and how people are reacting in Muan in general. That's about 300 kilometers away from where you are right now in Seoul.
That's right. The investigation is just the beginning, but officials have retrieved the flight's black box and cockpit voice recorders, which will be key in determining what went wrong. Now, early indications suggest a catastrophic failure of the landing gear and a potential bird strike, which the control tower had warned about just before landing. The pilot attempted to adjust and land elsewhere, but overshot the runway, skidding into a concrete barrier and triggering a massive explosion. It's a painstaking process, and while we may have these early theories, a full explanation could take even months. And this crash is particularly shocking because Jeju Air has had an excellent safety record in its nearly 20 years of operation, and many are asking how this could happen to a carrier trusted by millions.
And what more can you tell us about this jet? How old was the aircraft? What are the airline officials saying about it?
Right. The crash is now the deadliest aviation accident on South Korean soil, and it's one of the worst in Asia in recent years. Now, it recalls tragedies like 1997 Korean Air crash in Guam and the 2013 Asiana Airlines crash in San Francisco. But for Jeju Air, this is, as I said, an unprecedented tragedy. Their airline, known as South Korea's top budget carrier, has never faced a deadly accident before. And as you asked, Jeju Air CEO earlier today delivered a heartfelt public apology, bowing deeply in front of the press and grieving families. Now, the company's statement reflects the shock felt across South Korea, a nation that has prided itself on aviation safety, is now grappling with unimaginable loss.
Well, South Korea was going through political turmoil as well with a new interim president in place. How is the government responding to this disaster?
You're right. As you said, South Korea is in the middle of a political storm with martial law recently imposed and the acting president impeached. And despite this turmoil, the government has acted swiftly. So Deputy Prime Minister Choi Sang-mok, now serving as acting president, has declared Muan a disaster zone and a week-long national mourning period. And he has urged every resource be directed to recovery and identification efforts. The country's political crisis is amplifying and the emotional impact of this disaster. President Yoon Suk-yeol's office, though under heavy scrutiny right now, has expressed condolences and assured full cooperation in uncovering the truth behind the crash. The political instability is a dark backdrop to an already heartbreaking situation, and many South Koreans are struggling to process this double blow.
Mm. Rachel, thank you so much for this. That's BBC's Rachel Lee. She's in Seoul, South Korea.